Hey friends, welcome back to the Hooligan Knitter Podcast. As always, I am your host and resident hooligan, Sierra, and this is my little podcast where I talk about my knitting. So, this is now my fourth time trying to record. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I have uploaded anything, and by a minute, I mean like 3 months. Yeah, so I ended last year with all the garments I knit in 2024 video. And then I did film something earlier this year, and for whatever reason, YouTube would simply not let me upload. I tried like 5 different times, didn't work. So that video is just gone and doesn't get to see the light of day, I guess. So we're trying again. And maybe this time everything will work. But because it has been so long since my last video, I'm not going to talk about everything that I finished between then and now, because we would be here for 3 hours. And no one wants that. I don't want that. And if you want that, you shouldn't. But I will chat about all of my whips, of which there are 10, which is more than I would like to have, but that's where we are. And then, because I've also been buying yarn, I'm not going to show you all of the yarn that I've acquired between then and now, because this would truly turn into a feature-length film. But I picked a couple of skeins off of my yarn shelves that I'm particularly excited to work with, and I'll show those at the end if you're interested. But let's get into it. This might be a long one, so grab a beverage. I have an iced caramel high-rise from Caribou. And let's get to it. Okay, so like I said, I guess I should talk about what I'm wearing. This I have finished between last podcast and this one. This is the Winter's Pullover by Ozetta. She's done. I knit this out of Holst Garn Cielo in the color Cosmos. And it's just a really nice dark navy blue. This yarn is, if I remember correctly, a mix of merino, alpaca, and a little bit of nylon. Very soft, very drapey, however, it is pilling. You can see, yeah, this side is almost worse. You can tell I'm left-handed, yeesh. So, I don't know if I would use this yarn again in the future. It was so nice to work with, and I do really like the finished garment. Just is not wearing as well as I would like it to. Maybe this is just the initial shed, and then after I depill this, it'll kind of calm down. I don't know. I'll report back, I guess. I followed this almost exactly to pattern, except for the neckline. This pattern calls for an actual turtleneck where you knit it twice as long and then fold it down. This is already a bulky weight alpaca merino wool. I didn't need that. Oh my god, a bird just flew in front of the window. So I just did a mock neck. I may at some point add some elastic to keep it nice against my neck. And then I also did not follow the sleeve decreases. My gauge was off, and if I would have followed the actual instructions for the sleeve decreases, these sleeves would have been 20 feet long. But other than that, did I do anything else? I added a split hem. I don't know if the pattern calls for that, but I wanted to. Yeah, I really, really like the sweater. I would not be opposed to knitting another one. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Okay, whip time. Strap in. Okay, we're just gonna grab whatever is in front of me first. So, shout out to Johanna from Femme Knitted. Johanna knit this lovely little pink ruffled sock. Very cute, very pretty. We love it. Ruffle, they did a strong heel, aka fleagle heel, stockinette foot, and then they did an anatomical toe, which, if you are unfamiliar, follows the actual like shape of your foot in a way that a wedge toe does not. I don't remember what yarn this is. Johanna, please leave it in the comments and I'll pin it. However, Johanna is not a sock knitter. Or they're becoming one, but we're working on it. So basically, I got this yarn and this sock and a request to knit the second sock for them, which is not the first time this has happened. So I've been working on this ruffle sock for Johanna. My gauge is different from them. They did a 64 stitch sock. I went down to 60 stitches to get roughly the same size. They got about 10 stitches per inch. I'm getting about 8. So going down those extra couple of stitches should help. Done the ruffle, that sucked. Did the heel turn. Now we are in stockinette land. And then at some point I get to do my first anatomical toe. I usually do a wedge toe, but I guess I should probably make these match. But yeah, sock. They're very cute. This yarn is very pretty. But I think I will never knit a pair of ruffled socks again because this cast on was brutal. If you've never done a ruffle, for these I cast on, I think it was like 256 stitches, and then you rapidly decrease. Yeah, wasn't fun, didn't love it, but I did it because I love my friends. Yeah, okay, ruffled sock, these should be done by the next time I record. There would be no excuse for these to not be done. A side note, I really have like kind of forgotten how motivating having a podcast is to like actually finish things. Because I can just say, oh, I can get these done by the next time I record, and then I'm like, oh shit, I actually have to get those done. Maybe that's why I have 10 whips. Nothing else to say about these, except I hated them. Okay, I guess we'll stay on the sock train for now. Okay, these are a pair of DK socks that I am knitting for my mother. The first one's done. What yarn am I using for this? Universal yarn. Is that it? I'm not very well prepared, am I? I will look it up and leave it in the description. It is a fingering weight, so I'm holding two together. It is more green toned than it is showing up on camera. Yeah, that's not gonna help. My mother picked out this color, so she will definitely like them. She gave me a not so subtle hint that she really liked the DK rib socks that I made her last year. And by not so subtle, she just texted me and said, I need more socks. So here we are. First one's done. I did I did these toe up because I'm team toe up. Regular wedge toe, stockinette around and around and around, fish lips kiss heel, not stockinette, ribbing, 2x2 ribbed all the way around, fish lips kiss heel, continued that ribbing up the top, and then I just did my regular bind off that I do. How many stitches did I cast on? Like 40? Not cast on because I started with the toe, but I think I have like maybe 40 stitches all around. Yeah, so the first one's done. The second one I have started. I've just not felt particularly motivated to work on it. Everything's all tangled up. I have my stitch marker, one of my stitch markers from Anna at Skeiny Legend on here. It's very cute. Shout out Anna, future Anna, living in the future. These would not take very long to do. I could probably finish them like this weekend. I don't know, I'm kind of busy this weekend. But it's a DK sock. I will get to it when I get to it. Yeah. Okay. Rib socks for mi madre. I have one more pair of socks on the needles. Is that true, or am I lying to you? Yeah, one more pair of socks. These are very fun. These are the Mush socks by Anna from Skeiny Legend. They're very pretty. They're very cute. I love these. These have not been blocked yet. So please excuse any like weirdness with the color retention. It's so cute. I did actually knit these to pattern. I knit these top down. Everyone say good job, Sierra. I don't do top down socks, but I did for Anna. Because they are all over colorwork, I knit a 64 stitch sock instead of my usual 60. Did a fish lips kiss heel, and then my usual wedge toe. Did not catch any of my floats. Don't yell at me. They look terrible, but it's fine. The yarn that I'm using, the darker brown is from Coast to Coast Yarn Co. It was part of her soup collection, and that is the color Beef Stew, which is just a delicious brown. It has flecks of green in there, different tones of brown. There's some yellow in there, some orange, really lovely brown. And then the main color is from Loom Wool in the color Milk Tea, which is a very nice beige. Oops. Now it's on the floor. And I think these colors were made for each other. They're so perfect, especially for a mushroom sock. Here's my floats. They were not caught. My toes do get stuck in them, but it's fine. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, choices were made, and they were perhaps not the best choices. But it's fine. It's fine. They're for me, so if I have to exercise a little more caution with putting them like on and off the foot, that's fine. If I was making these for someone else, I would have definitely caught the floats. But I'm not making colorwork socks for someone else. You can't make me. But yeah, first one's done. I have cast the second one on. Unfortunately, it is attached to the ball of yarn that just went across the room, but I don't have anything exciting to show. I've just finished the cuff. I really should pick these up again. They are very, very cute and would be perfect for spring. Look at those little guys. And then here's what the top of the foot will look like. That would help if I could actually like show it, huh? There. They're very squishy because it's almost like a DK weight sock with all the floats. But yeah, I think they'll look really, really nice once I actually block them, because there's like a little bit of unevenness with the tension, but I expect that will settle down. Okay, Mush socks. Talked about. Okay, we are no longer in sock territory. What should we talk about next? Let's talk about this. I cast this on a whim. I've always planned to do this project with this yarn, and one day I was like, okay, today's the day, we're starting it. I have a giant cake of this sport weight alpaca, and I cannot remember the farm that I bought this from. I bought it at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool a couple of years ago, and it has been in this enormous cake just staring at me from the yarn shelf. It smells so good. And what am I doing with it? I am doing an asymmetrical brioche shawl scarf thing. So I've started it kind of to show because this yarn is so drapey. I have never really done brioche before, so be nice to me. But honestly, I think it looks pretty good for it being my first like real attempt at brioche. Not too shabby, right? And then obviously both sides are the same with brioche. It's so drapey. I mean, there's no structure to this at all, and it's so soft. I love alpaca. And I just think this is going to be a delightfully squishy, big shawl. This cake, I think, was maybe 200 grams. So 200 grams of sport weight alpaca and all over brioche. It's going to be so squishy and nice. I do need to pick this up again. I don't think I'm going to be able to wear it this season, but it would be very nice to have it ready for next winter. I should probably tell you what the name of this pattern is, huh? I'm gonna have to look it up. It is the Friday Morning Brioche Shawl. Friday Morning Brioche Shawl. Who's it by? Let's find out. By Kate Atherly. Friday Morning Brioche Shawl by Kate Atherly. Yeah. And this is one of those shawls that you can just knit until you run out of yarn and then you bind off. It's not like other shawls where you have to keep track of how many grams you've used for each half, because it's just going to be like a big asymmetrical thing anyway. And there's so much cat hair in this. Lovely. But yeah, that's that. I'm very excited to have this. I haven't worked on it in a couple of weeks, but now that I'm like feeling it again, I definitely want to pick this up. I'm knitting this on a US 5 3.75 millimeter needle. Okay, we're making progress. Let's talk about this, I guess. This is just a 2x2 ribbed hat that I started the other day. This is, what is this? Lion Brand Heartland, which is just an acrylic yarn. I don't remember the color, but it's just like a nice dark heathered gray. I'm not really following a pattern for this. I guess I'll probably maybe follow the decreases from the Essential Beanie, but I didn't really start this hat by following this pattern. This is a worsted weight yarn, knitting on, what is this? US 8 5mm needle. I cast on 124 stitches, and we're just going until I feel like I'm about to run out of yarn. I don't know if I'm actually gonna have enough to do like a double folded brim on this or not. We'll see. I had this yarn in stash, and I'm trying really hard to work through a lot of my stash this year, or at least make a dent. And we're making progress. There's a dent, okay? Mac is at the door. But it's in stash. I figured I should use it. I'll definitely have enough to like make a hat. I just don't know if it'll have a folded brim. But that's that. I've just been picking that up and doing a couple rounds here and there. Nothing too exciting. Just around and around and around. It's a good mindless project that I can have on my desk here while I'm working. I work from home. Not a whole lot to say about that. Pretty boring hats. Okay. I have one more non-garment thing, and then we can talk about the 4 garments I have on my needles. So my dear friend Alexa from Hey Alexa Knit sent me some yarn last year at some point she sent me yarn, and she sent me 2 skeins of this cotton from Hobie. I have the other skein right here. They're 2 different colors. I don't like knitting with plant fibers. I don't really like knitting with synthetic fibers. I am at my heart a wool girly. But I have this yarn, and I believe that every yarn has its place. I'm not like a yarn snob. I mean, I'm knitting an acrylic hat, and I have another acrylic garment on my needles. Anyway, so I was like, what am I gonna do with this cotton yarn? It's like 100 grams of 2 different colors, fingering weight. It's from Hobie. I don't remember the name of the base or the colors, but here they are. So what am I doing with them? I guess on a dishcloth or like a hand towel thing. I probably should have made it a little wider, but here we are. Mac, you're fine, bud. Here it is. I'm following a stitch pattern from Pearl Soho where it looks like ribbing, but you're really just knitting and slipping stitches. It's very stretchy, so I'm anticipating, I mean, it's cotton. Over time, it's gonna like relax and open up. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing with this cotton yarn that Alexa sent me. It's a really nice, another mindless project because like I said, you're just knitting and slipping stitches. I'm just not a cotton yarn girly, but, oh my god, I have to let this cat in or he's gonna break down the door. Hey, you're a problem. Oh, what? You don't want attention? Cotton dishcloth. Thanks, Alexa. And then I'll probably, depending on how long this one ends up after this ball of yarn, I might make a second one out of the darker color, or I will just add the darker color to this one and make it super long. I don't know. I'm not following a pattern or anything. I'm just playing. But there is that. Okay. I have 4 garments on my needles. Admittedly, I don't know where one of them is. It might be in my car. That's fine. That one that's in my car, probably, hopefully, is a Tulsa tank by Rebecca Clow, Creabea. I'm knitting that in Lion Brand Trubu, which is a bamboo blend. What, buddy? Yeah? It's like a pale blue tealy color. Been on my needle since last year. Not making a ton of progress on that. I've been doing a couple rows here and there. The thing with Creabea patterns is I always really struggle to get gauge. She is a very loose knitter, and I have found that if I want to knit her patterns, I have to go up a yarn weight. So with the Tulsa Tank pattern, that pattern is available in fingering and DK weight. So I'm knitting a fingering weight size with DK yarn because I could not get a gauge that I liked with the DK yarn with the DK gauge that she calls for. So I'm knitting the 6th size in the fingering weight pattern with a DK weight yarn, and I like the fabric that I'm getting. It's not very exciting to look at right now. It's just stockinette in a tube. And I don't even think I have enough yarn to finish. So I will need to get more of that at some point. But I'm in no rush. I have other garments that I'm more excited about. So there's that. I'm sorry I don't have it to show, but I promise it's not that exciting. Hi. You're being dramatic. Come here. Come say hi to your adoring fans. Come on. Hi. It wouldn't be a Hooligan podcast without the boy. Okay, I have 3 other garments on my needles. 2 of them are being knit in yarn that has been discontinued. Yeah, it has, and it's very sad. So the first one that I will talk about is the one... Have you seen this before? Who knows? We're going to talk about it. So Johanna also sent me this yarn. Shout out Johanna. This is Cloudborn Fibers. It's their sock yarn. Again, I don't remember the base name, but I guess it doesn't really matter because it doesn't exist anymore. In this kind of grayish brown color. And it's funny because before Johanna and I met each other, I knit a pair of socks out of this exact color from this brand. So if I run out of yarn, I could just frog those socks, I guess. I don't want to, but I could. What am I doing with it? I am doing another Creabea pattern. This is the Lunan, which is an all-over 3x1 ribbed fingering weight garment. I'm almost done. This pattern has options for a polo, or you could do a round crew neck. I did the round crew neck. Has that very classic Creabea shaping with the shoulder in the back. Yeah, I mean, not the most exciting knit because it's 3x1 ribbing in the round forever with fingering weight yarn. But I know that I am going to wear this so much, so I'm trying to really power through, and I'm being very brave about it. So here's the thing, I don't have enough yarn, and I know I just joked about frogging socks. I'm not doing that. I am insane. I'm not quite that insane. So what we're doing instead is we're doing a Lunan tank. We're not putting sleeves on this thing. Should it have sleeves? It's fine. I've tried it on. I like the way that it fits without the sleeves. And what I did is, instead of just doing 3x1 rib all the way around, I did like a little panel of just 1x1 ribbing under the arms, just for something different. I don't know. There's really no method to the madness here, but that's what I did. I don't know. I like it. I am excited to wear it. I am almost done with it. Will this be done next time? I don't know, maybe if I can get it together. But again, it's 3x1 ribbing in the round forever on, what size needles am I using? 4? Yeah, US 4, 3.5mm needles. It has a million stitches because it's fingering weight, so I don't know. it will be done because I do really want to wear this, and I think it's going to be a really great basic, like staple to have in my wardrobe. It's just kind of boring to knit. And the reason that there are markers here is last time I tried it on, I put this little marker. Otherwise, I would knit 3 rows and go, should probably try that on again. So this is just like reminding me I haven't actually knit that much. And then every 10 rows, I just move this white one down as like a little self-motivating thing. Is it working? Maybe. What's on my sweater? So there's that. I do have, I think, I've got the rest of this ball, and then I think 1 more, maybe 2 more. I can't remember. I should probably figure that out. But there's that. Lunan by Rebecca Clow. It's a really nice pattern. I don't know. It's a good mindless knit. I've been taking this with me to the physical therapy waiting room. So that's where this has been seeing the most love. Okay. We're getting there, people. We have 2 more. Let's talk about this one. This is a masterpiece, or it will be when it's done. I cast on the Oleander sweater by Audrey Borrego yarn flakes. And it is an all-over lace sweater. I have just finished the first repeat of the lace chart. Why is that yarn over so big? Maybe we just won't look at that one. We finished the first repeat of the chart. And I think it's going to be really, really beautiful. This I am knitting out of more discontinued yarn from Patons. This is the Patons Lacette base. Very fluffy. What is this? This is 39% nylon, 36% acrylic, and 25% mohair. So it's very soft, very fluffy, kind of a pain in the ass to work with. But I think with this lace pattern, it is looking so ethereal. It's very light and open. And I have a vision. So this sweater obviously is bottom up. It is it drop shoulder? Pretty sure it's drop shoulder. Guess I should probably figure that out. And then it has a V-neck as well. And I just think it's going to be so stunning. Originally, I had like a Delulu vision of having this done in time to wear to Easter brunch over like a floral dress. That's not going to happen. And that's fine. I'm not going to kill myself trying to finish a sport weight sweater with all over lace in 2 weeks. We're not doing that. We're not doing stress knitting. So I picked this up. I can't really work on this during the day when I'm working because it requires more than 1 brain cell. But I do a couple rounds here and there, like at night after work. I'll just sit in here in my little office and hang out. My neighbors are on the trampoline and I hope they can't see me. Great. But I did opt to add some twisted ribbing at the bottom. The pattern asks you to just cast on and start the lace right away, but it does also include instructions for adding a little bit of ribbing at the bottom. So I did that. The pattern also calls for you to do, I think, 4 pattern repeats. And then in the pattern, I think the body ends up being about 13.5 inches long. And usually I'm all for that. I love a full length garment. I love a full length garment, at least 12 inches, if not longer. However, with this really lightweight, lacy garment, I think I intend to wear this over dresses mostly because it's going to be more of like a dressy piece. So I might make it a little bit cropped. Maybe only do 3 pattern repeats. I don't know. Much to consider. We've got stuff to think about. I should put a marker here so we can compare how far I get between now and next time. But I don't think I have any handy. So you're just gonna have to trust me that I'll put a marker in here at some point after recording. But again, Oleander by Audrey Borrego, who, if you haven't heard, she just made all of her patterns free on Ravelry. I guess she no longer wants to have a knitwear design business. And something about like taxes and income and stuff in France where she lives, she can't be making money from a business that doesn't exist anymore. I don't know all the logistics of it. Long story short, all of her patterns are free on Ravelry, and they are all gorgeous. This woman creates truly the most stunning lace and cable patterns. She has some colorwork patterns, and they're all gorgeous. They are, to my knowledge, all size inclusive. They've all been tech edited and tested, and they're all free now, which boggles me. But I scooped this pattern up immediately because it has been rattling around in my noggin for years. And here we are. Blue's not really my color, I don't think. I mean, as I'm wearing a blue sweater. But I got this yarn for free. Someone was destashing it, and they gave me so much of this yarn. And it's been discontinued. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to use it in a garment that's a little bit different from something I would normally knit anyway. So, I don't know. I'm really excited about this one, actually. I'm really excited to have this. And yeah, my husband is home. So I have one more garment on my needles, and it is the 03 Rib Cami. Let me figure out who it's by. Oop, autocorrect killed me there. 03 Ribbed Cami by Eleanor Alice. And this is where we're at. We've made good progress with this one too. My mom sent me this yarn. Thank you, Mom. And it is an acrylic wool blend. Here we are. And someone said I'm gonna look like a slutty pinata, and now I can't get that out of my head. And I think it's gonna be very fun. So I have tried this on, and despite it looking quite long already, I have much more to go. But this is just 2x2 ribbing. Yeah, 2x2 ribbing. And I keep casting on ribbed projects, and I don't want to work on any of them. But I think this one will be very fun when it's done. Got some fun stripes. I did some yarn management with the 2 triangles in front to try to get them to match. They sort of match. It's fine. It's better than it would have been if I hadn't put any effort into that at all, so I'm pleased with that. But that's that. Those are all the things that I have on my needles currently, which is more than enough. I don't need any more. Yeah. Should probably finish some things before I cast on any more. Okay, so lastly, I wanted to talk about a couple of skeins of yarn that I have purchased that I'm like particularly excited to work with. First of all, we are going to talk about this sock set that I got from Fuzzy Peach Fibers. It is part of the Save the Bees Club that she's doing this year. So every month I get 100-gram skein, are these 20 grams? Yeah, 2 20-gram skeins, and then a packet of wildflower seeds, and then 10% of the proceeds go towards bee conservation. This is the first one that I got. So if you are part of this collection and you don't want anything spoiled, this is going to be the February colorway. March has already also been delivered. I just got a notification that April is about to be shipped out. So you should be like totally fine to look at this. However, if you don't want to see the February color, the February sock set from the Fuzzy Peach Fiber Save the Bee collection, look away. Here she is. And I think this is gorgeous. This is called Wild Bergamo, the set. And it's just this delicious green and purple. There's some like almost burgundy in there. And I think it's so pretty. And then the 2 minis. This purple is very reminiscent of the purple that's in the main skein. And then the pink is so fun. And so I think the plan for these is I'm going to do some spring trellis socks by Cindy Hagen. I've done a pair of these before and I really like them. They're all over 2x2 broken rib. And then, so main color is going to be the main part of the sock, right? This purple is going to be cuff, heels, and toes. And then I think I'm going to add in some stripes in the cuff and maybe just before the toe with this pink. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do the purple and then save the pink for something else. I don't know. But I think this is so pretty. I have it sitting on my yarn shelf and I just keep looking at it. I don't know when I'll cast these on because clearly I have enough going on, but it's so fun. And then the second skein of yarn that I wanted to share, I picked up from my local yarn store in Hastings, Minnesota here, Muse 2320. This is a collaboration they did with a local farm. And this is something. It's Cheviot and alpaca. I'm gonna say this is like a DK worsted. I don't know. There's like no other information on it, but here it is. I'm a sucker for alpaca, what can I say? And I'm a sucker for a nice neutral. And there's like little bits of color in here. There's some blue, there's some green. I think I saw like pink in there somewhere. Yeah, there's a little bit of pink down there. And I think that this will be very fun knit up. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it. Probably a hat, because I can't stop making hats for some reason. But I'm debating on doing like a cabled hat or a ribbed hat, or maybe I'll be super basic and just do a stockinette hat to really let this yarn shine with all these like little fun colors in there. So I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like that idea of doing just like a stockinette hat. Is that super boring? Probably. It smells good. But I thought this was so cool that it's like entirely local to me. And it's just like a really nice yarn. So continuing along with that, I bought more yarn from Muse that's also from Get Ben's farm. But this one is a sport weight and it is Icelandic. And I love a good Icelandic wool. I love a good scratchy, rustic, like painfully scratchy wool. This is about 250 yards. It is a 2-ply sport. It has an incredible halo. And I just think it's so pretty. This is going to be a cabled hat for sure. I'm debating between, let's see, I believe it's called the Sherwood hat. Hold please. Okay, so I'm debating between this cabled hat or a different cabled hat. Let's see, where is it? This one, which is like a much more intense cabled hat. This is the Hat for Joy by J Snits. Much more intensely cabled hat, and my only concern with that is it going, like, is this yarn going to show off that cable pattern? Because it is very, has a pretty intense halo. So that's my only concern with that. But I do think that, you know, it being a white / off-white wool, the cables would look good because you'd be able to see them. So maybe I'll give that a try. Or maybe I won't, who knows? I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm a sucker for Icelandic wool, I'm a sucker for alpaca, I'm a sucker for bees. So these are just 3 things for my stash that I'm really, really excited to work with in the coming future. Yeah, I think that is everything that I wanted to chat about. Yeah, I don't need to keep talking. This has been quite long enough. But I would love to hear what you are working on. Do you have any yarn in your stash that you're like particularly excited about? If it is, I want to know what it is. Yeah, it feels good to be back. Hopefully this uploads. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be very sad. Yeah, but it will hopefully not be another 3 months before I chat with y'all. Hopefully it'll just be a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, I hope you're well. I hope you're making things that make you happy. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.